Tanya.
Atiola.
Mo pàdé lady kan. Just a friend. Kò pé kájọ máa ṣeré, kájọ máa sọ̀rọ̀, ká máa múnura wa dùn lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan. But she took it to another level. Ó kó mi jẹ. Ju bí mo ṣe lérò lọ.
Gbogbo evidence tó wà nílẹ̀. Ó point at you pé ìwọ gangan ló gbé owó yẹn. Kí ni wọ́n fẹ́ continue láti máa ṣe?
Oh, wait, I understand now. Ó fẹ́ dupe mi ni now. Ó clone mi ni. Ó clone mi ni.
Àwọn pẹ̀lú ìyàwó mi á máa jọjẹ́ mọ́ oúnjẹ pọ̀ mi oúnjẹ tẹ̀ mí. Wọ́n tún fi pé o fẹ́ break up pẹ̀lú mi, wọ́n á bí ẹjọ́ o lè break up pẹ̀lú mi. Tó bá break up life wá ni.
Ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí àbúrò ẹ̀ mi ò rò pé ohun téèyàn lè káwọ́ gbénú wò ni.
Ṣé o gbà lónìí ni?
A ní mi ò gbà sẹ́ẹ̀.
Kí lélẹ̀? Ta lélẹ̀? No, who is this? It's no one. Please, look at it. Look at it.
Nígbà àti ta ni? Inú ẹgbẹ́ wo? Ṣé ta ni? Olórí ńlá ni mí.
Ta ni ẹ gan mo fẹ́ mọ̀ ẹ́?
Ìyẹ́ ńlá ni mí bàgẹ̀bàgẹ̀. Kò síbi tí wọn ò lè bà sí.
Níwọ.
Lẹ́mi ni.
Níwọ.
Ẹ̀yin èrè pé wọ̀nràn níwájú tèmi. Ẹ jẹ́ kóra yín kò ń bí.
Òun ṣàgbèrè títí téèyàn fi lóyún fún ẹ. Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ló ń sanwájú mi ló dẹ̀ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, that's it. Right?
Wait, how else do you want me to be remorseful? Kí máa rá bàbá nílẹ̀ or what? Mo sọ fún ẹ, mo ní mo ṣe nǹkan tí ò dáa.
Ìwọ náà mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ ẹni mò ń ṣe kò lè jẹun. Ó wá sọ̀rọ̀ sí mi bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Ó dẹ̀ dá omi lù mí. Ó work out on me.
So omi lórí tún gbé wá. Wá bínú. Kí ni problem ẹ̀ náà? Oúnjẹ ló ń sẹ́lá tààrọ̀ wá gbé. Ó fi wẹ́rẹ́ wò ló gbé àbá mi.
With a grateful heart to God, with joy in my heart, I welcome you to another beautiful episode of Talk to Be. It's Talk to Be, baby. Gay. I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, family. You all have been amazing. What could I have done without God and you? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for always being there. Thank you. I am Dr. Biola Adebayo Akirinde. On this episode of Talk to Be, I have a friend, a colleague of mine. I won't call him an ex-colleague because a colleague is always a colleague. Once you're an actor, you're always an actor. Forget it. But this episode is more for the OGs before the IG. I will definitely know the OGs once it's been introduced, okay? Talk to Be is all about you. It's all about us. It's all about you learning something. And I promise you, you're not going to get up that chair without learning a thing. All right. Please note that all views and opinions expressed on this show are solely that of my guest, not of me. Neither is it of Talk to Be. I'll be right back.
Talk to Be. Share your experience.
Thank you for staying tuned. In case you're just watching, you're watching Talk to Be. To be honest, I'm so excited about this episode because of the person involved. You know, we came up together, growing up together with him and everything. And a lot of people, when they were saying, this guy, where is he? We can't find. They didn't know that I could find him. I knew. There was a time I was looking for him too. But join me as a welcome, my friend, my brother, my colleague, Mr. Yemi Awomodu.
Thank you so much.
Yemi.
Yes.
This is you live and direct.
Ọkùnrin ló ń ké sí.
Oh yeah, start.
Alágbára ọkùnrin tí ń fọmọ rí ẹdún retí.
O ṣe? Má sọ lọ́nà.
Ibi tí mo mọ̀ dé nìyẹn for now.
Yemi, please. For Mori somebody should get me a Mori Odo. It's so good to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, it's been years.
I know.
This is you.
I know.
All right, let's go. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
tell us just about yourself. Tell us what you do.
Okay.
You now tell us about your growing up. But let's get to meet you now, what you're doing currently
Okay.
and everything.
Okay, so my name is Yemi Awomodu.
Yes.
In other sector, they know me as Adeyemi
Yeah.
P. Awomodu.
Okay.
So
what's the P?
Peter.
I know. I want people to know
Peteru.
me. I know. Peteru Akpeja.
Exactly. So I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I'm a linguist.
Okay.
And I'm an educator.
Okay.
So my journey started from Nollywood.
Yeah.
You understand, where I had the privilege of acting alongside some of our Nollywood greats,
Yeah.
in telling stories about the beauty and the complexity of our Nigerian stories.
Yes.
About 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, I took a bold turn to step away from the camera and in pursuit of another passion of mine, which is education.
Yeah.
So currently I'm a researcher and I'm working on the relationship between the language of instructions and the academic experiences and attainment of, Nigerian primary school children. In other words, I'm trying to see how the language we're using in teaching these children in schools is affecting their overall academic experiences and attainments.
Wow.
So
in Africa or in the whole world?
I'm concentrating on Africa at the moment. Okay, but then we have similar situations in the whole world. In parts of the world where English is not, for instance, their mother tongue.
Yeah.
You understand? So we have instances like that. I'm also a founder of an NGO called Shine.
Shine.
Yeah, so which is supporting holistic, inclusive, and nurturing education. So it's all about education. It's about looking at students as a whole, and providing holistic support for them, not just, because what I've found out in the process of my research is that, they have different needs. For some it's financial needs.
Yeah.
For some it's like they need mentorship.
That's right.
For some they need it's language barrier.
Okay.
I grew up in Bariga.
Yeah.
And I grew up with kids who I know, for instance, that are very brilliant students, but they struggle with English.
Yes.
So that's my story. But overall, at the core of my being, you can say I'm a storyteller, whether it's through acting or through my research or through my NGO, which seek to make positive impacts in the life of students in Nigeria and Africa.
Wow, interesting. Good to know. Okay, I want you to tell us a little about yourself before the Nollywood encounter.
Okay.
What was growing up like for you?
Okay.
I remember your dad had a street then we had Awomodu Street in Shomolu.
Right?
Hey, big boy now.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so how was it growing up like for you?
Like you've rightly said, I grew up in Bariga.
Okay.
So for those who don't know where Bariga is, it's a very beautiful place, with its own complexity, with its own beauty, with its own ideology and all that. But it's all in all, it's a very beautiful place. I mean, growing up for me was a mixture of joy and hardship. You understand? But the joy superseded that of the hardship because, again, my parents were loving parents, but for my father, most especially, education is like a priority. But out of the 5 kids that we have in our family, I was the basket in which they chose to put all the eggs.
How do you mean?
So I had siblings who, in a way, again, struggle with English, in schools. My immediate sister, for instance, she's very good when it comes to maths and all that. But, she's kind of, in a way, struggled with the English language, and it affected her academically. So, but I was getting along with English for some reason, I was getting along. So they felt, okay, which is what parents do exactly in communities where, in low income communities, they see that when children are repeating classes, they just erroneously decide, oh, he's not cut out for education. Let's put him in trading, in apprenticeship, and all that, without knowing actually maybe the real cause.
It's just language barrier.
Exactly. So I was killing through with English. So English actually happened to be my happened to be my best subject that time. So they just decided, okay, so this is our, we're gonna put all our eggs in this basket, and then when it becomes a success, it's gonna look after everybody.
Everybody.
So it's always been like that for my dad. He was not educated himself, academically, like the formal education, but he was a brilliant man, a very considerate man, and he's always had my back when it comes to education and all that. I remember the first time I was going to Ofa, Kwara State, because before then, after my secondary school, I was one of the very first 5 students from my secondary school who gained admission at the first attempt. I gained admission to study agricultural engineering at the Federal University of Tech, Akure. And I remember we went to the place for registration, and then we came back and I was preparing to go to school. Yeah. And then my mom had an accident, somewhere in Fadi. It was a hit and run. She broke her 2 legs, my father, I remember my father calling me one time and said, because I was just eager. I was looking at my mom there, feeling very sorry for her, but I was also eager to go to school. So I remember, going to my father and said, so when am I leaving? And then he looked at me and he said, listen, it's either you go to school and your mom stay home, and forget about treatment and all that, or she goes for treatment and you forget about school. So putting that kind of choice to a 17-year-old, it was a tough one. And I did not even, think it like for long. I just said, you know what, let her go. So that particular incident actually changed the trajectory of my life, like forever. Wow. Even though, I mean, it's a life that was heading this way, and then all of a sudden he had to go, another direction, Yeah. And so instead of packing my bags to, go to school,
you had to pack it to the hospital.
I had to pack it to the hospital. And then I took my first job ever in my life as a cleaner. So from going to study agric engineering, then to be, it was one of the toughest, period, not only for myself, but for our whole family. You understand? But then out of that hardship, I saw something like, brilliant, which again shaped the kind of person that I am right now. I saw like pure, genuine love from my dad, even in, a father trying to, okay, my family is going through a lot, but I'm going to, make sure that they still see joy, they still see happiness and all that. And I've got 4 kids of my own now, and I always make sure that I do that as well for my family. So it was like that.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so after that, how did you at what point did you go back to school, and then how did you start in Nollywood?
Okay, so brilliant question. The place where I was doing the cleaning, it's a clothing industry. Okay. Owned by the Indians. And one thing they do very well is that, because remember, I was employed as a cleaner with my work. I had like 8 credits, and all that. So they know they have people like that in the company. So anytime there's an opening in the office, before they do this external advertisement, they do the internal one first. Yeah. You understand? So they are fond of doing that. So on one of those occasions, I saw the advert for a place at the office. Okay. At the head office, actually. It was for a post of a personal assistant to an HOD and a clerk for a whole department. And I remember seeing it, and then I applied, Okay. And I was thinking, I'm the only one who's going to apply for this. And then I saw the shortlisted list. There were 42 people in there. And that's when I knew, okay. So there are lots of efficos, in this place. 42 people.
Wow.
And then they now did another further shortlist. So 18 people.
Okay.
And I made that list as well.
Okay.
So for the 18 people now, they now invited us for an aptitude test, which we wrote in person. Okay. And it was invigilated, like officially.
Wow.
By a white man. You understand? We were spaced out, And I was thinking, I look at the whole class. I was the youngest in there. Remember, I was still 17, 18 at that time. I was the youngest. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is another like hell yeah playing the game because I'm sure I'm not going to get this job, But then I did it. And then I forgot about it. So I usually work nights. Okay. And I remember Yemi Awomodu, That's where I live, not my surname. But,
Yeah.
So I'll leave Awomodu, and I usually walk all the way to work, which is somewhere in Ilokweju, very close to Isolo Shodi or something like that.
The other side, Mushin.
So I will walk all the way. And I remember that particular night, it started raining. And I look at my sibling. There was light, so they were preparing to go to bed, and I was preparing to go to work. And in my head, I'm thinking, this is too much, And I was so down that I didn't even bother about the rain. I just started walking in the rain, not running, not anything. Just, you know what? I was just tired. And I was hoping and I was praying that, I was actually praying a particular prayer. I said, God, let me get to the gates. And then let them just call me aside and say, listen, you can't walk tonight because you've been chosen for the post. So you have to go back and come tomorrow to resume at the head office. That was my prayer. And I got to the gate, and I was standing there, normal thing is you come in and then you just, but I was just loitering there. And I remember, the Baba, and I was still loitering, I was still hoping, nothing. Okay, so I did that night, and then we usually close around 6.
6 a.m.
So around 4, I went to have my shower because we work in a very, very hot place. So I went to take my shower. And then in the shower, I heard somebody knocking on the door, was like, Yemi Awomodu. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm in trouble for going to have my shower 2 hours before, the closing time. And then the Oga, I quickly just came out, rushed out of the shower. And then I went to the Oga and was like, Yemi, níbi nù ni o, kò yẹ kó ṣiṣẹ́ lálẹ́ yìí o. Wọ́n ti mú ìwé wá fún ẹ pé wọ́n mú ẹ ní head office o. Kìnìkan. And in my head, I'm thinking, and all those babas that were there, because they were looking out for me because I was the youngest in there. And all of them just came and started praying. Like, Ọlọ́run á gbé lọ síbi gíga, ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní kìnìkan. So I did the night. I had to rush home, changed, and then come again for, the morning shift at the head office. And so that was what happened. And I remember I didn't have any shirt or tie or anything. So I went with this this guinea.
To walk?
Yeah, to walk. Like the long one, no?
The Senegal.
That time,
I remember.
I wore it to walk. And I remember when I went to the personal office, I came in and they were looking at me like, this one is in the wrong place. And then I gave them my name and they looked at the name, they looked at me, you're the chosen one? I said, I don't know, I just knew they gave me this, That was how I got that place. I was working there, so I was earning like ×4 of what I was earning as a, so I remember among my friends that time I was the richest, if you know what I mean, I was working in the office, things like that. But I was not happy. Because again, for me, I felt I've been robbed of that education.
Yeah.
You understand? I wanted to study. So I was earning the money. I was in a very nice place, but I was not happy. And then I remember I met a friend whose parents were lecturers at the Federal Polytechnic Offa. And she said to me, if you don't mind, just come to Offa. You understand? And I didn't even think it twice. And I remember my friends reprimanding me after that, like, you left this very good job to go to school. Like, you could have just done part-time. But I wasn't thinking at that time. I was not. I just,
You just wanted to go to
it's
school.
just go to school. So it was when I got to offer, I joined the NFCS, the National Federation of Catholic Students. And then I joined the drama group.
Okay.
And then a month after I joined in the drama group, even though I was a first year student, I was elected as the director of the drama group. I was like, okay, uneasy lies there is where's the crown, you know? So I started doing the acting in there. I was seeing a girl that time, you know, and then as she do. And then I remember she wasn't really, you know, keen about me doing acting and all that, but she was still supportive, because I remember she was the one who took my pictures to a modeling agency like that and said, "Oh, fair act, you might as well just put what's it called, modeling with it as well." So it was there. Uncle Deja Adenuga saw my picture and invited me to Wale Adenuga. I'm sure we've met, you know, at Wale Adenuga,
yes,
you know. So
yes.
I started going for auditions in there, and I got my first role thanks to Uncle Becky and Talanio.
Yes.
You know, so I was given I played a
We
part.
applaud you, Saz. You did
Yes,
for him.
absolutely.
You did for me.
Absolutely.
Mr. Becky.
They actually officially started the journey for me. You know,
did.
in terms of movies, I was doing like I said, I was doing like stage plays before.
You actually had a group at that time.
Yeah, I had a group
for a
at
long
that
time.
Yeah, I had a group at that time. So, but it was Uncle Anta and Uncle Becky that gave me my first role in I think No Pain No Gain.
No Pain No Gain.
Yeah, so I played one of the under the bridge children, like that. I was a samurai in there, and then from there I got another role in, I think it's This Life.
Yeah.
And then finally, I got a lead role in Super Story, The Staff. You know, so it was in that role that the Cafe Dikbes saw me and spoke to Uncle Biodun Alija. And then Uncle Biodun Alija reached out to me and said to me, "Yemi, come to so place." And I got there and I met, you know, Kabirat Cafe Dikbe. And, you know, I was struck, if you know what I mean.
Kabirat and Aishat's Cafe Dikbe.
Yeah. So I met them and they gave me this huge script. And like, you're playing the lead role, Oluwashina Ayemi. And I said, okay. And then I looked at the cast list, and it was like a Christmas wish packed together, and just they were the actors that I've always, you know, admired, looked up to. I'm talking about Yomi Fash Lanso, who was the dude that time. You know, there's something about Uncle Yomi that, you know, I just, anytime I watch his film, I was like, and then I saw his name there. I saw Antikweju Ogumola's name.
Yeah.
I saw Pakasumo, rest in peace.
So rest in peace.
I saw Uncle Olumide Bakari, rest in peace.
So
I saw Iyabo Ojo. I was like, are you serious? You want me to
play this role?
And she said, yes. It was that trust, you know. And Uncle Biodun was also there and all that. Yeah. And then we did Oga. And I remember when we all gathered to start, Uncle Yomi came in the very first day. And then I remember him greeting everybody one by one. And then he got to me and then he skipped me. And then he continued and I was like, hey, you understand? I didn't know what happened. Maybe he just got carried away. Maybe, you know, he just skipped me. And then that got to me. Because he was the one I've always like, you know, looked up to. And I remember our very first scene in Oga, I mumbled my lines because I was facing him acting. I was just supposed to say, I mumbled it. You know? And then after that scene, I had to like, don't miss this opportunity, if you know what I mean, you know? And that was how, you know, we just continued. And there was a particular scene, I was like, I'm going to take my revenge on Uncle Yomi. And then I remember that scene, you know, vividly, you know, even because Uncle Biodun said, Yemi, that was great. He was ranting in my face, you know? So I had the options of either looking at him. So I just totally ignored Uncle Yomi. I was on the laptop, I was doing things. And then at the point in time, I was like, yeah, let me take it further. And then he moved closer and was talking, and I went,
Oh, I remember that scene.
and then I just, I said, yeah, I got my. But then I remember the second movie we did, Ofi Kokola. Uncle Yomi came, saw me, walked up to me, and gave me this massive hug. And he said, my brother. And I just became his brother from there on.
Ofi Kokola, we didn't worry. With Laide Bakare.
Exactly, with Laide Bakare. And I remember since then, anytime he's directing a movie, he'll like, call me Yemi. And then he became like a mentor.
To you.
To me. Yeah.
Wow. Such a journey.
It was such a journey.
You reminded me of Ofi Kokola.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly. That was my second movie.
Really? At that time?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, you left at the peak of your career in acting. Sorry. At the peak of your career in acting. At that time, everybody wanted Yemi Awomodu in their movie. Do you understand? Like, is Yemi? I was just coming up gradually with you at that time, but it was Yemi. After the Uncle Yomi set, Uncle Yomi Fashtan, so Uncle Funsho Adeolu, Uncle Said, Mukari, and all of it was Yemi. Yemi was the hottest in town. And then you left. Nobody knew. In fact, you got to UK, you got there, I think the third day thereabout, you just called me and I was like, this call, UK, and I say, Biola is Yemi. Yemi, Ibolowa. I'm in the UK, I just want to tell you. And I was like, And that was it. What happened at that time?
Okay. Okay, so it's a very deep and personal one for me.
Okay.
You understand? So I lost my dad 2003.
Yes.
I remember that day vividly. Like, it was on a Sunday. So the Friday before that, I was with my friends. I was ill, I was healthy. I was just playing with my friends, doing things. And then the Saturday, before that Sunday, I just felt ill, mysteriously, So I was home. I was just like, how did this happen? So I couldn't go to church on Sunday, so which allowed me to be by his bedside when he left. So I remember that Sunday, I was still feeling, tired and sick. And then my mom came and said, you need to come and see your dad. And then, I went there and then I saw him. He wasn't really in a good shape, And then he saw me and then he kind of calmed down. And then he said we should pray. So my other siblings have all gone to church. So I was there with my mom and himself, and then we prayed. We prayed the rosary. And then the moment we finished praying, he died. You understand? So he was holding my hand and my mom's hand. Wow. It was a peaceful death, But because my mom was there, she broke down straight away. So I didn't have that time, that luxury to actually grieve as well, because my mom was there.
Your mom.
I couldn't, she's crying. I just needed to instantly just take charge like that. And then somehow my siblings heard from church. They came, everybody started weeping. Baletiku, everybody started coming in. So there wasn't that time. And then he, again, we buried him like 2 days after that. But there were still people coming in, family and all that. And then the movies came, and then I was doing the movies. And then the movies were like really helpful for me because it took me away from the environment. I remember, like you said, at that time I was really busy. There were times when 6 months I don't even sleep on my own bed.
Yes.
I go from one hotel to the other.
I remember.
So it was, taking me away from, that time. But then you can only run as far as possible because, again, grief, happiness, sometimes they catch up with you. And then it caught up with me at one point, you know. And I was tired. I was tired and I just wanted to be by myself to grieve. You understand? And I'm talking, my father died in 2003. I'm talking about 2005. You understand? So I just needed that time.
2 years.
Yes. I just needed that time because I know now I've been there for everybody. You understand? My family, I've made sure everybody, you know, were able to deal with.
What position are you in the family?
Okay, so the first of my dad.
The first of your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was there, you know, so I just needed that time for myself. And I remember I switched off all my phone. I switched off everything and I just locked myself indoor. For almost 2 weeks, I didn't come out, you know, just going, asking them to get me food, just there. But I wasn't holding anybody's any film. I've cleared all my,
At
you know.
that time.
So, but then there were some of our mothers and fathers that still wanted Yemi to be in their films. So, and because they know where I live, so they still call me. And then they were like, who want to lay ekbe for me? And then I had to come out again and then go on set again, put the grief aside for 1 minute and then just go and act again. And then, you know, during that time, I did about 5 other movies from some of our dad and mom coming to come, you know, they were not
Pick
getting
you.
me. So, as in they,
Pick
you know,
your
usually they came with cars and like, yeah,
Let's
let's
go.
go. You understand? And I was doing that. But again, it was that time, I was also dating somebody that time. She lived in the UK. And then again, she knew about my passion for, you know, education. For me, offer was not the all be all for me. You know, I wanted more. So and she said, listen, I know you love writing, I know you know, you love reading and all that. There's this school they're offering, you know, an English language studies degree in the UK. Think about it. Would you like to come? I didn't think too much about it, especially with also everything going on, the grief and still doing movies and all that. So I took the opportunity. I just left. You understand? Again, the plan was not to go for like 20 years and all that. Because again, you know, we humans, we make plans. And that's what they say. If you want to make God laugh, start making plans. He'll just be looking at you and like, okay, are you done? Now, my plan. Exactly. So that was the plan. And I started my program like 3 months after I got to the UK. And I made a decision when I got to the UK. I said, this Yemi Awomodu, I'm just going to put it aside. You understand? And then I took a new identity, which is Adeyemi P. Awomodu. Because again, I like to stay focused on things. I'm not afraid or ashamed of starting again and all that. Again, I just like to stay focused. And I remember I was, you know, given a, a shock awakening when I got to my university there. You know, remember I put Yemi Awomodu aside. And then I got my first day at the university. I got there, and at the corridor, I saw these 3 black girls, and they screamed, "Oh!" I had to run back as well, like, actually, I might say, and they were like, "He's a star! He's a star!" And I'm like, "Who? Who?" And they were like, "You're Yemi Awomodu." And I'm thinking, like, seriously, you know. And that was it. The whole school came out and like. I said, yeah, he's one of our superstars. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
I say, TS combo do.
Onitimfa.
You know. But then I was able to do things. But for some reason, I couldn't, because of some 1 or 2 things, I could not finish the education.
Wow.
It was supposed to be a 3-year program. I did it for 2 years. So, yes. So instead of having a university, a Bachelor of Arts degree, I was given a university diploma.
Okay.
So the chase for the degree continued, you know. So Because of a lot of things, like I said, I could not continue it. One of them is financial because again I was paying for the school fees that time, and so before I could start again, it was another 10 years. And
10
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Until after 10 years.
After 10 years, and during the 10-year period, I started having kids.
Oh, okay.
Raising a family, and then I went back to school, 2018. So initially, my thought was I would just pick up from where I stopped, and then I started reaching out to schools, and some of them they were telling me, because you've been away for more than 5 years, you would need to go back and do like an access course again before you now start the year one. You understand? I was like, I'm not really liking that. But there were also others that said, okay, yes, just start from where you stopped. So I was shopping around for schools, and then I go to my University of Essex. They say, just start from the beginning. No need to do an access course. Just start from, the beginning. And then that's how I started. And this time around, I was able to, finish it. So when I started in 2018, my plan was, just have this degree to please my dad. He's always wanted, just have the degree and then just please your dad. But I had lecturers who were like really very supportive of me, and they were sending me personal emails like, you should consider postgraduate program. They were like, oh, your contribution in class was really good today. Are you sure you don't want to take this further and all that? In my head, I'm thinking, but they were like so encouraging. So I did my master's. I did it at Oxford.
Wow.
And yeah, I did my master's there. And then while doing my master's as well, I started applying for like a scholarship for my PhD. And then I got the scholarship for the PhD. So I'm a fully funded scholar for my PhD.
Wow.
Yeah. So from that plan of just doing a degree, now a full-time scholar now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're currently running your PhD program?
Yes.
When are you going to be done?
Next year.
Next year?
Next year. Okay, so while I was doing my master's at Oxford, my personal tutor from my undergrad school got in touch again and was like, hey, how about, apply to do your PhD as well? And there's this scholarship, that is fully funded if you want to apply, for that as well. So I started looking into that. And then I sent in my application. And, I was the only one that they picked in my department for that. So I got this scholarship. So my PhD is fully funded by the UKRI, United Kingdom Research Institute.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
At Oxford?
No. This is my, okay, so my Oxford Masters, I was nominated. I didn't apply for a scholarship. I was nominated for a scholarship.
Okay.
You understand? So that scholarship, they only choose 15 people yearly. Again, like I said, I didn't apply for it because, but my department, after giving me an offer for a place on the program, they now nominated me for a scholarship. So for this scholarship, like I said, 15 people, but I came 16th.
Oh.
And then I remember the head of department telling me, listen, can you pray? I said, yes, I pray. He said, you just pray. If one person drops, and not take up the offer, then you're the next person they're moving forward. Prayed.
Nobody dropped.
No, who's gonna give up, full funded scholarship, and so I didn't get that one, but I was given a bursary, which is like a part scholarship for my master's program.
Okay.
So, I got that, and then for my PhD, I applied for another scholarship, and I got that one fully funded.
Wow. You're really doing us proud. You're making us proud. Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You want to share your... I know a lot of people didn't have it rosy, especially when they just relocate abroad.
Yeah.
What was the experience like for you?
Oh, okay. All right. So mine was different.
Okay.
And I should state here that this is pre-Japa.
Pre-Jap. Oh, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. We're talking about 2005.
Yeah, exactly.
That was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
So my going there was smooth sailing. You understand? Because I was married at that time before leaving. So my wife at that time made things, easy for me crossing over there. So I got there, and again, I didn't. Yeah.
You got married before leaving.
Before leaving.
Oh yes, you guys did.
Registry like a registry.
Thing. Okay.
We later did the Catholic wedding. There over there.
You didn't tell us at that time. You ran away.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
You caught me there. I did.
We didn't know.
So we did that, and so my transition to the UK was not as stressful, as it is for other people.
Yeah.
It was a bit, easier for me. But again, it's a whole different ball game entirely, because it is not Nigeria. It's a new place. I've never been there before.
Yeah.
So you need to learn a lot of things and all that. You need to forget you are in
start somewhere.
And then just started. My first job was a night job. So I was doing that job from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and then start classes at 9 a.m. till maybe probably around 6, and then do it again. So it was like that. So you really totally need to forget that mindset of, being a star, waiting at your hotel room for somebody to come and call you. Assign somebody to you to get you food and all that. You pack your food, your breakfast, your lunch, you carried it like that, and you start running for buses. You understand? So I was doing that. There's this film by Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness. In there, his life was in stages, and it was introducing the story. There was a part that said, this part of my life is called running. I had that part of my life as well, where I had to run for bus, run to work, run back to run back home, get ready for school, run back to school, and things like that. So I was doing that. The UK would not afford you that luxury of just sitting back. Jenny. So I was doing that, and since I was not ready to be a gigolo, so I had to work, and I was funding my education at that time as well. So it was like that. But then Joy has a slender body, and it breaks easily. The Yoruba has just escaped me, but again, Joy has a slender body. When things are rosy and all that, you should be careful. So I went through a lot in my marriage, all right, and I ended up leaving the marriage, and then I became homeless, after that.
Homeless. Like you didn't have a place.
As in, I was sleeping on buses, in the cold, on park benches, in the UK.
You, our celebrity.
Abby.
Sleeping in the bus.
Yeah. I was homeless, and then during that time, God is good. I've always, there's a point in your life when you have that relationship with God, irrespective of what you're going through, you just know, He's got my back.
Yeah, there's peace in
absolutely,
the storm.
Exactly. And then you just keep asking, okay, so, dude, how long is this gonna act? When is the next scene? So in my head, sometimes I was picturing, a camera is there, while I'm, just to get myself through. You understand? And it was hard, but it was also, again, a very important stage in my life that has made me, who I am at this point. You understand? Um, I was not depressed. It was hurting because it was cold. I was, frostbite and all that. You having all that, but you just know it's not gonna last.
Yeah.
It's not gonna last. I remember a woman saw me, and that was when he actually hit me, and I was very close to very close to tears. The woman saw me, and somehow she recognized me. I'm talking about weeks of sleeping, rough, no bath, no you don't no toothpaste, toothbrush, and all that. I'm telling you, So the woman saw me and she said, ẹ̀yin lẹ máa ń ṣeré fún wa. I'm like, customer, man, badgering, she and I responded. And then I said, can you nice day, ma? And I was leaving. And then she called me back and she said, Emma Bino, a drink of first son, Emma Bino. Okay, ma. Ejo, de ma jeun dada. Could you bali? Could say fresh there. And in my head, I'm thinking, if only she knew that I've been, And I said, okay, ma, Eshema.
Bali fresh.
Yeah. And then I walked away, and it was at that time that it really got to me like, Yemi, what are you doing to yourself? And like you said, your father has a street somewhere, So it got to a point, I decided to, this is enough. So I was begging for money on the road. Yes. Because I needed to make a call. And I had nothing on me, so I was actually begging for money. And then
you begged for money.
I begged for money on the road.
On the streets of London.
On the streets of London. Again, that aspect of my life shaped the way that I see like the destitute now. I teach my kids now, you don't just throw money at them. You have to go close to them and say, hi, how are you doing today? How are you? Just talk to them because they are people. Not all of them need the money for drug and all that. So I was begging for money because I needed to make a call and I had nothing on me. So I remember a guy gave me £1. I went to the phone booth, and then I called Tosin Abiola. Tosin Amobritico. Yeah.
God bless you, Tosin.
And I called Tosin, and Tosin said, I don't care where you are, Yemi. Said, take a taxi. Okay, don't price it or just take a taxi and bring them, let them bring you to so address. And that was it. And then she offered me, she practically took me out from the street and offered me a place.
Wow,
to stay, So that was it. And I got off the street and I was at Tosin's place. And from there, I met someone else who said, my company is, employing at the moment. If you don't mind, you can just, come and apply, and all that. And then I applied and they called me for an interview. And I had nothing, again, no shirts to go for the interview. And the person bought me a shirt, shoe, tie. And I remember she said, this is the only time I'm going to buy this. So get the job. You understand? So I dressed up, went for the interview, and then I got the job. Okay. So, and I remember I remained in that job for 10 years plus. Yeah, in that same job. And it was the beginning of a fresh start for me.
Yeah.
You understand? And it began with Tosin saying, I don't care where you are, Yemi. Go to a cab office. Tell them you're going, just that.
Just that.
Just that. Just that. And then I started my life, afresh. One thing about me is this. I'm a very resilient person. And when you have God, things just don't face you like that.
I get it.
And I'm not afraid of a fresh start. No matter how many times you knock me.
I'm not afraid of a fresh start.
No, never. Okay, so my kids turned, my girls, they turned 13 last week.
13 already?
Already. And one of the advice I told them is when life knocks you down, always get up because as Awomodu, that's who we are. You know, I'm not, you know. So I started again, and I remember even in that job, you know, things went really well for me. You know, I became a deputy manager quickly, then ended up being the manager, you know, heading a whole branch and all that. And like I said, I was there. It was the second job, but I was there the longest. And then I only left when I started schooling, you know, to, you know, put more attention. Now I'm a full-time researcher, and that's my life.
Wow. Interesting. Nobody would have thought you had gone through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
want people to know that sometimes, even as a celebrity, whatever you are, whoever you are, and you choose to relocate, it does not mean you will have it rosy. So when you see people, be kind to them. You have no idea what they are going through, regardless of who you thought that person was or is. Just be kind to people. Just say you did this one. Thank you. I know he told me at least at some point we discussed it. I just want to appreciate you. You're one of the reasons I wanted him to narrate that experience. Thank you, Tosin. Your kindness did a lot. Sometimes a lot of people, some people want to help.
Absolutely.
But by the time they start saying, oh, she's dating him, they are dating.
Yeah, there was the issue because again we went to the same university. The university I went to when I first got to the UK. Tosin was there as well. So there was also a rumor that, I mean, that time she invited me to her home. She had to move out to go stay with someone so that, again, not to encourage that rumor that something is going on between them. So she
left our own house
for me. She had to go and stay somewhere else, just not to encourage that rumor that, something is going on between them.
Wow.
You understand? And she had a very comfortable bed, you know. So from, you know, bench and park benches to very comfortable bed. So she did that.
Thank you, Tosin Biola. We appreciate it. This is just to say thank you and to encourage other people. Please, not everybody choose to be a destitute. Whatever you can do, however you can help someone, because you know what? It will come back to you. Now it's fine, it's comfortable, he's discussing it. Thank you. You also can do that. All right. So let's go to, before I let you go, I feel like gisting all over again, but let's get to your beautiful wife. She's my friend as well, you know. I also want to mention that, please, sometimes it's not everybody that are together, male and female, that are dating. You know, there were speculations about us too at that time. Oh, I want fair. A lot of people believe that, but it wasn't. And we had a very good relationship. We still have it till now. So please stop these speculations. If they didn't tell you that there is a relationship, there's probably not that kind of relationship. Man and woman can actually have a very good relationship without dating, without having to sleep with each other. And if they have, especially when they are single, if they tell you we are not dating, please believe them. We have that. And Tosin Abiola and him had the same. And today they are still good friends. Okay?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yes, let's talk about, how did you get to meet your beautiful wife? I want to appreciate her. Yeah, Beji. You know me, I love you. I got your back. Thank you. Thank you for allowing Yemi. Thank you for the peace of mind. Thank you for letting him be who God wants him to be. You have been his support system. I appreciate you. You know, she's one of the reasons, or the major reason you are here on this show. So you wouldn't have been here if she didn't allow it. So thank you, baby. Thank you, mama. We love you. Tell us how you met your beautiful wife.
I mean, I can tell you the date.
I know.
The month, the year, the time, what she was putting on, the day I met her.
Yes, I remember the story. So please tell us.
So I met her on the 5th of July. 2009. It was around 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. She was wearing this white shirt on a sky blue jeans. You understand? So it was on the set of film production in the UK, produced by Doyin Amodu.
Amudu. Okay.
You know, who is, I mean, and that's why Doyin for me is also one of the top people in my life.
Yeah.
You know, because I met my wife through her. So it was after my divorce, and I was just again, I said, and no offense, I said, you species called women, I am done. I said, Modukwe, I'm done. You know, before, you know, the whole thing, right from my very tender age, I wanted to be a priest.
Priest, yes. I remember.
I was going to be a reverend father. I actually ran away to the seminary, you know, and then my father said, no.
No priesthood.
I want grandchildren, you know. So I said, no, I'm done. And then Doyin said, Kilode, you know, you just have to move on with life, you know, and things like that. And then she said, you're coming to my movies. I'm producing. You have to come down there. You know, who knows? You might find somebody, you know. And then we're shooting. And then I remember because we usually, when we're doing our movies, we were only shooting during the weekends because, you know, UK, everybody, yeah. Yeah, so it was on the set of Doyin Amodu.
Okay.
And I remember when we were waiting to start the shooting.
Okay.
And then I just looked up. I saw this lady, this, you know, picture of perfection coming. And then I said, who is this? So I got up to at least, you know, meet this person. But I remember before I could get to her, there were some other guys in there on set, and they all just surrounded her. You know?
They knew her.
I don't even know, but they just all surrounded her. She was now in the middle, and they were talking to her. You could see on their faces, like, you know, admiration and all that. And me, I don't compete, you know? So I stepped back and, you know, let them, you know, do their thing. So when she managed to wiggle herself out of them, and then she was walking to where she was going to sit down. So I walked up to her. I said, hi. I said, my name is Yemi Awomodu. I said, sorry to waste your time, but I just wanted to tell you that you're going to be my wife.
What?
And then you're going to give me twin girls. These are their names, Adereolua and Adefeolua. You know. So by that time, Doyi had walked up to us. And then she looked at me, she looked at Doyi, and she said, well, okay. You know? But that was it. That was how we met. A year and some months later, she gave me my first son. You know?
Wow.
Exactly.
Then after that,
the
twins.
So I remember when we went to when she was pregnant for the first time, and we went to do the checkup and all that. And they did a scan and they said, you know, yeah, it's one, and it's a boy. So I remember looking at her and said, don't worry. The next one, my twin girls are coming. And I remember when she was pregnant for the second time, and we went to do the check, and I was waiting patiently, looking at the nurse, and then she said, are you ready to know the sex of the... I said, yes. She said, okay, but first, I need to tell you,
okay,
there are two.
Yes.
And I remember I jumped on, I was like, yes! You know? And then she said, they're girls. I said, exactly. And I looked at her, and I was like, yes. That was what happened, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. So that was how I met her. I call her Idunumi, you know, because I met her at a point in my life where, you know, I needed that. And that was exactly what she gave me, you know. So she's been a wonderful person. You know, she's, you know, Jejenoni, you know, doesn't party, doesn't, you know, just like indoor, homely person. She's a pharmacist, you know, and she did that with 4 kids. Remember, she had her first son, and then she decided to go back to school. And then she had the twins, and she had one more. But all through that, she kept on with her studies. Now she's a pharmacist working for the NHS. You know, really super proud of her.
Wow, we're super proud of you. Thank you for everything. You have been amazing. The way you embrace me, the way you love me. Thank you. I am grateful and for allowing him to be here. Thank you also. We just want to appreciate you and tell you that we love you. And the kids, you have brilliant kids. You have amazing children. God has really blessed you.
God has blessed me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have this relationship with God, you know, that you can feel safe in whatever it is that is sent your way, then that's when you truly know God.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm not faced by anything. You know, trust me. And I remember even when they gave me the news of the twins, and I jumped up. And then they said, another thing we should let you know, they shared only one placenta. You understand? So that means the baby in the womb, they get their food through the placenta. So when you have a situation where the twins share only one placenta, there's the risk of one of them taking all the nutrients while the other one gets nothing and then starved. The one taking the nutrient will grow. The one that's getting nothing will just die. And I looked at them straight in the face. I said, no. I said, my twins will share. You understand? And then they said, well, we still need to be checking them like every 2 weeks. So we were going for checkup every 2 weeks, you know, and they were sharing. They were growing equally, you know, and every time they act surprised, oh, they're both sharing. And in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, I've asked God and I trust it will do that, you know. And then by 30 week, the water broke. You understand? And they said, no, this is dangerous because we can't bring them out now. They're too small, you know. So my girls lived in the womb for 2 weeks without water. Without water. You know how essential water is?
Yes.
You know, without water, they lived in the, you know. And during that time, instead of 2 weeks, we're going for checkup every two days. You know, so at 32 weeks, they brought them out. So they were 2 months per time. You know. But God was merciful. And he saw us through.
Look at them now.
Oh. And they turned 13 last week. And in school, they're doing so well in drama. Doing exceptionally well in drama. They are talking about maybe going into acting and all that. So you might not have seen the last of the Awomodus yet. Just so you know.
You are still coming back.
Absolutely.
You see?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
acting is always there. You remember when I said an actor is always an actor. Any plan to relocate to Nigeria anytime soon?
Okay, so because, again, my research is based here in Nigeria.
Okay.
And, you know, I've been going, last time I was here for 9 weeks.
Yes.
And this time around, I'm here for about 5 weeks as well. So aside from my research, so there's also my NGO that's also here. Okay. So you're going to be seeing more of me.
More of you.
Yeah.
You didn't come to Nigeria since you left until like after how many years?
So the first time I came to Nigeria after I left in 2005 was 2013.
13.
For the 10th year remembrance of my dad.
And that was
then after
the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time.
The second time?
The second time was last year.
That was after many years?
After 11 years, you know. The first time after 8 years, then the second time after 11 years.
So you came to Nigeria twice in 19 years.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
But now we'll be having more of you.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they sold gala for me 400 naira when it was 200 naira.
Yemi, you don't let this thing go.
I let it go. I still saw the woman yesterday. I said, Kalema, you know, guy, waki number. You know?
Just because I did welcome you back in.
I mean, if it was somewhere in what's it called, Enugu, but Kenya Ogbami ni ilu tedemi, ilu baba mi.
It's 200 naira big bag now. So you keep your wallet very well now. You remember you are back to Nigeria, but trust me, Nigeria is getting better.
Well,
Lagos is getting better.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ikorodu. So Ikorodu
Oga,
you know,
Lagos State.
Lagos State, yeah.
He's a Lagos boy.
I'm a Lagos boy.
Happily married. Okay, so I just want to remind you guys.
With 4 kids.
With 4 kids. 4 kids. Wow. Ekpele daddy. All right, lastly, before I let you go, I'd like to ask you, what has the story of your life? What has it taught you? What have you learned from your own story?
Oh, place all your trust in God. You understand? See, when we have been, I won't say misled, but we have this notion that the notion of God that we got from probably our parents, our pastors, our elders. That's the notion of God that a lot of us carry with us. But you need to go beyond that. You need to form that personal relationship.
Know him yourself.
Know him yourself. Know him to the stage where even when you've not had anything to eat for days, you still know he's got your back.
That's right.
And that his plan for you are of good and not of evil. You need to get to that level of relationship with God. And then when you attain that, life becomes easier. I tell people, I said, I'm the happiest man on earth. You understand? Because nothing can take that joy away. Because I know, I have that realization that, God has got me. So we need to have that understanding, that when you attain that level of relationship with God, when you get to know him, then things just, whatever comes your way, your happiness lies in that fact that he knows what he's doing with me. You understand? And he will not do anything bad with you.
Yeah.
You understand? My kids, every birthday of mine, they said, Dad, what do you want for your birthday? I said, what do you give a man who's got everything?
Wow.
You understand? Because when you have God, that's what you truly have anyways. So I don't compete with anybody, like I said. I'm very contented with the little that I have, But that joy, that happiness,
knowing that God got you,
it's all that matters to me.
All right, lastly, I would like for you to tell your fans something, the people that have missed you, that haven't seen you in years, in 20 years actually. Tell them something.
I mean, I cannot even thank them enough. I'm not on social media.
I know.
Yeah, I am terrible, but I have colleagues who are on social media and they always send me things like, Yemi, they're looking for you. And I see comments like, where is he? Where is it? For all those people who have asked about Yemi Awomodu, I'm actually doing well. I'm okay. I just want to thank you because, again, I've been away for 20 years. And for you to still be asking of Yemi, here's Yemi Awomodu. He's doing well. Thank you so much for the care. Thank you for always asking of me. I don't even know what to say. I cannot thank you guys enough. But you guys have proved them wrong that, you know what? Yeah, we're still we're still here for you, Yemi. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful.
I'm a Yorisi.
I'm a Yorisi. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The last time we saw him, he said he came today and he was telling me that I can now pronounce Korokwe because, of course, at the time he left, there was no Korokwe. So when he came back, when I saw him last, he said, "What did you call it?"
Korokwe.
Korokwe. And I said, "No, it's not Korokwe, it's Korokwe." So today, when he was just getting, I said, "Biola, I know how to pronounce it. It's Korokwe."
Korokwe. I was rehearsing it.
All right, Yemi, thanks for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been amazing with you. I'm sure that you have learned something today, and it's very important. See, he's just like me. There is nothing in all of it. I might not have it rosy, it might not be sweet, but you know what? I always say to myself, God will not give me what is bad. God is good. The situation might not look like it. You might be going through something. You might be going through the storm. I want to tell you that God is aware of it. You are not alone, okay? Don't hurt yourself. Bring yourself out of that depression. You can do it. God is always on your side. He knows. He sees. And I want to tell you that the storm is about to be over. There will be peace even in the storm. and for sure it's getting over soon. Just trust God, trust the process, and know that you're coming back with a testimony. All right, Yemi, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure.
It's been amazing. I'm so happy to see you again. I'm so happy you're sharing your story with us.
That's good.
I'm honored to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being such an amazing person. You have always been. I am so proud of you, proud of what you're becoming, what you have become. I'm so proud of your family. May God continue to bless you.
Thank you.
May God continue to honor you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Biola.
you.
Thank you.
So on Talk to Be, we have a tradition. You might not need it, but it's just a token to say thank you for coming.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. And this also is for you.
Wow.
Say thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Talk to Be.
Yeah.
I have not done this in like 20 years.
I know.
You know? And when you reached that, I said, yes, definitely I have to come here. Thank you so much to you personally. And you are like a role model to my kids. They look up to you. Every time they see you on the screen, they're like, that's our auntie, that's our auntie. So thank you so much for being you, for 20 years. I am personally proud of you. Okay. You're top of my list when it comes to the Nollywood. And to the wonderful crew behind. Thank you for supporting my sister. And gbogbo ìdáwọ́lé tí yín náà Ọlọ́run á máa gbé lọ sókè.
Pray in English.
Everything you lay your hands on, God will continue to prosper you. Especially those things in your heart of hearts that nobody even knows about. Like, Amen. God will continue to do it for you in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you. That's Priest Yemi Awomodu. Priest Baba Beji. He had always wanted to be a priest. He has 4 children.
I know, right?
Priest in the mud.
It is well.
All right, guys. I'm sure you had fun. I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. Till I come your way, same time on the same channel next week. I'm Dr. Biola. Adebayo. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. And please remember, in whatever thing you're doing, put God first, be determined, and stay focused. I also want to remind you that God loves you more than the devil hates you. I love you, and God bless you. Bye.
Talk to Be. Share your experience.